Good afternoon, everybody. Well, you folks are going to get blasted, aren't you? Sorry. We have to crowd about 70 more people in here, so you might want to. No, I'm kidding. I'm sorry about the venue. It was the only room big enough on campus available today at this time. So from now on, we're going to try again for the Stockdale room, and hopefully we can get in there again. So start off with a phone announcement. Please silence if you haven't already. If you have to have a conversation, please take it outside, because what we're talking about today is very important to everybody. We are recording this. Frank's got an iPad going here for us. This meeting, the recording will be posted on the web for people who aren't able to attend this, so you might want to be careful about what you would say or not say. Okay. A reminder, only members can vote on this tentative agreement. Only members. Fee payers are not eligible. If you are a fee payer and want to become a member, talk to Sonia, and she'll get you hooked up with a membership card. It's 2 cents per month, gentlemen. Need everybody's attention, please. The difference between fees and dues are 2 pennies per month per $1,000 of gross pay. That's all it is. So for the average person, it's going to cost like 6 cents a month. And that gets you the right to vote on this contract agreement, plus a whole slew of other benefits that Sonia will be happy to tell you about. We want to thank Marcos, who's the supervisor of the Unit 5 grounds folks. He granted the grounds folks an extra half hour of lunch break today on company time so that they could attend this meeting. So guys, you don't have to leave early, but you do have to leave at 1 o'clock, like everybody else, okay? All right, so introductions. I want to introduce our staff members first who are here. Frank Polito is our labor relations representative for this campus, and he also covers San Luis Obispo and Fresno. He's been around for a long time. He knows this campus very well. If you've got a problem, take it to us, we'll get it to him. We'll try our best to get it sorted out. And then we have a new staff member from the Sacramento office, Magali Kincaid, back there in the back. She is a senior labor relations rep, one of 2 on our staff, and this is an unexpected visit and quite a pleasure. Welcome to Bakersfield, and thank you. The officers, chapter officers and stewards, please just stand up and take a bow. Or raise your hand or something. Sonia Morantine is our new organizing chair. She just stepped up recently into that position. Leila Flores is our long-term secretary. Catherine Plunkett, our even longer-term chief steward, and all around everything. Chris Shirey is our longtime treasurer, and Jamie Jacks is our longtime Unit 9 rep. Did I miss anybody? Oh, well, you know who I am. You see my name enough, probably too much in print, so I won't. Okay, and then our special guest today. You notice we have on the agenda, we have no chapter business. That's because the sole purpose of this meeting is to talk about the tentative agreement, give you an opportunity to ask questions and to get answers. And here to do that are two of the people who bargained that tentative agreement for us. They fought damn hard to get it. And sorry, I get choked up. It's a great tentative agreement. It's one of the best I've ever seen. Now, I know it's not a perfect tentative agreement. For all 15,000 of us, there are 15,000 problems with it. On the other hand, there are 15,000 excellent points about this tentative agreement. I want to welcome Susan Smith. Susan is the Bargaining Unit 9 Vice Chair statewide. She's from the Fullerton campus. And from Stanislaus is Mike Chavez. And Mike is the Bargaining Unit 5 statewide chair. So I'll just turn it over to you two. We have some handouts here. Please take one and pass it, or pass the rest around.
I have to move this down because, believe it or not, I am standing up. So, Ray, are you going to do the PowerPoint?
Yeah, I got it. Excuse me.
So we have this little PowerPoint that we're going to show you. I'm not very good at reading PowerPoints and some other presentations they have, so I think they're going to make the PowerPoint available to you at some point in the future so you can actually read all the little details when you get it. So, your bargaining team. This is a list of everybody on the bargaining team. The important two people are right here. Everybody else, you can find out their name on the web page. We're all important, but you don't need me to read their names to you. So we started this process back in 2013, where we did surveys and asked people what it was they wanted. We identified key issues. We then started meeting with the CSU. We do something called the Sunshine Agreement, where both sides present their proposals or what they would like to bargain over. Then we spent the next 8 months over 14 different bargaining sessions going back and forth across the table. We finally reached a tentative agreement on August the 26th, and now we're here talking to you about ratifying this contract. The main thing that you guys told us was you need some money in your pocket and you don't want anything to touch your benefits. And I believe that we have achieved those two goals with this tentative agreement. Okay.
So what we did, the team did, with your guys' help, from all the organizing, all the campaigning that we all did, this is all a fruition of what we accomplished. We got guaranteed salary raises. First time in the system that we know that it's happened. I mean, we've always got guaranteed for the first year, but the second and third, guaranteed. Hats off to you guys. Thank you. We got 3% retroactive July 1st of this year, 2% for next year on July 1st, and another 2% on July 1st of 2016. You got to be in active leave status for each of those dates for you guys to get those dates, to get that salary increases. With this though, the top of the salary ranges, the increase, we went in and froze the bottom though. The salary increases are guaranteed and not conditional of any state funding. One of the things that they had approached us was that, they wanted to have it tied to the state funding. We've been down that route before, and we got burned. So we stood our ground. Thank you guys for backing us up, helping us stay that ground. And we got what we accomplished. We also got no reopeners in any year. So that means they can't come after our benefits. If the budget drops out, they can't come back and ask for those increases back. No reopeners. We also got a Me Too agreement with CFA, so they're still negotiating right now. So if they happen to get a bigger compensation pool, we're entitled to that also. We don't want to get punished for being one of the first ones to come out of the gate with an agreement.
Frequently, management dismisses our union, right? We're just a collection of custodians, ground workers, some office people, some computer geeks, all thrown in, right? But we are the leaders on this Me Too agreement. So other unions are following our lead. Guess what APC now has in their contract? Me Too. And they have a guarantee of the we're going to get this money. So we need to give ourselves a hand because we have shown them that we are a force to be reckoned with when we stick together.
Does that Me Too agreement apply if they get less? Do we get less?
No. No, they're not, let me just tell you, they're not going to get less. They're not going to get less. But what it guarantees is if their compensation pool is greater than 3%, then ours will go up to match theirs. You also have to keep in mind that salary is structured differently at times, and so it may not mean, they might have some people that get higher than the 3% GSI overall, but if that happens right now with the money, it means that some of them could be getting lower than the 3% GSI. So keep in mind that this is about a compensation pool and not an individual person's raise with the fact.
You want to go over the retirement?
Sure. So again, there are no reopeners in any year in this life of this contract. It is set in stone. These raises are set in stone and your benefits are set in stone. They cannot take away anything over the life of this contract. Your salary, you should also remember, is a factor in retirement. So if you are considering retiring during the life of this contract, you might want to talk to CalPERS to see when the best time is for you to retire. We want to also bring up to you, your health plan premium is not negotiated by the union. It is set by CalPERS. So last year we did a big information campaign to you about how Kaiser significantly raised their rates, and you needed to look at that to determine if you could afford that an increase in cost. And if not, you may want to shift to another plan such as net value. Well, Kaiser learned a lesson because 10,000 of you went away, which that made a big dent in their pockets. So guess what they did this year? They lowered the rates. So they lowered the rates, Blue Shield raised their rates, so now it's the opposite situation. So this is open enrollment, which ends, I believe, on October 10th. Please be sure you evaluate your benefit plan accordingly so that if you need to make adjustments, you're not surprised at the first of the year. Some of the other, we did do an improvement in range progressions. Now management can ask for an in-range progression for an entire campus. You may have heard of a plan at Dominguez Hills where they were moving towards this. So we got it into our contract that a campus could do this. If they want to institute a plan for every represented employee, they can. We won't stand in their way. And the campus IRP guidelines must be consistent with the CBA. At times what we've seen is that the guidelines vary from campus to campus. So now they'll have to be consistent with what's in the collective bargaining agreement. They can't go out and be an outlier and put on crazy stipulations. So overall, this means no changes to any health care. The formula remains the same. A couple years ago they were trying to do that 20% deal. That's not going to happen. Also, parking, it's an improved situation. We got a big win. Parking increases, the maximum that can happen is $1 per month per year over the life of the contract. So if you're paying $12 a month now, the maximum you can pay by the end of the contract is $15 a month. They can only implement a raise one time a year. So if they forget to do it for this year, too bad, so sad, you can't do it next year and do 2 of them. So at any campus in the system who implemented the $3 after we got that huge 1.34% increase, if they implemented a $3 increase, we also negotiated that they're done. They cannot increase any parking fee until after this contract is over.
Behind us, you guys took a stand campaign. That's where all this campaigning for this ratification of this contract and tentative agreement. Thank you guys. Without your help, none of this is possible without our back. We're only about 10 of us at the table. And so they can turn around and say, there's only 10 of you guys there. Who do you guys represent? But when we have your backing, when you hand over the signatures, we handed over those signatures, when you guys wore your blue shirts, when you guys were at the rallies cheering and chanting, it makes an impact. Thank you guys. Without that, none of this could have happened. Thank you guys. We also expanded our employee rights. Now you can use for your family care and bereavement. Now what's included is step parent and aunt and uncle. Big change. It'll help out you guys a lot. What I also got is an extra, it says you may request an extra 5 days to review your draft evaluation for up to 2 weeks total. So that helps out in case somebody gets it at the last minute, they're busy, they didn't have time to view it, you have an extra 5 days upon request though. Okay? Now you have the right to a union representative in the classification appeal meetings. So if you happen to go in there and you need assistance, call the union rep. They're able to go to the meetings with you.
Okay, so we also were able to make a big change to the definition of intermittent employee. Intermittent employees and per diem employees are not intended to replace temporary, probationary, or permanent employees. And they've also limited to working 1,000 hours in a fiscal year. So if they are hiring intermittent employees and they want to work them for more than 1,000 hours, they need to hire them into a time-based position. Too many campuses, I'm not sure if this is one of them, abuse the situation of hiring intermittent employees. And essentially they work full-time year after year after year, never gaining permanency, never coming into our fold. So now, after 1,000 hours, they will have to leave employment or be hired into a time-based position.
Yeah, because we've seen a lot of this in the custodial department of work. They hired these intermittents and they give them assigned hours, assigned shifts, and they're working there. And at the end of the year, they're off. To give them a week off so they have a break in employment. But it's really an abuse of that situation. Management agreed, so that's why we have this agreement. What had happened is if people are needed that amount of time, they need to make them a temporary position. If they're needed for more than 1,000 hours, they're taking a place of a temporary employment. So they have the ability to hire somebody on a temporary appointment or probationary. But that's it.
Does that include temporary employees that are hired on contract that just goes through HR?
No. If they're hiring temporary employees through an employee service like Abigail Abbott, or they're not in our bargaining unit and they're not officially an employee of the university.
So we also got a fast response to vacation requests. It says your appropriate administrator must respond to your vacation request as soon as possible, but no later than 14 days. The contract previous had 30 days to respond, and that's if they responded. Sometimes you have to remind them, and even then they're still playing games. So now they have 2 weeks to get a response. If they don't get that response to you in 2 weeks, then you can elevate it to their supervisor, their manager in charge, whoever's next in charge, and they have an additional 7 days to approve or deny that request.
And that's 14 days, not 14 working days, but actual
14 actual calendar days.
Okay.
What happens if after the 7 days, that person's the top?
Well, then I would recommend that there's a violation of the contract has occurred and you file a grievance.
It's grievable.
We also had some changes that maybe most of you are probably not going to be too interested in, but those who are stewards will like this, that informal grievances are now held within 14 days rather than 21 days. A union representative may be at this informal meeting, and they have to give a written response within 14 days. And this will speed up the process, and it also gives us the ability that if an administrator has sat in at this level grievance, they're ineligible to sit in at the next level grievance, so that we just don't get a no and then a no again, and it just takes up under 30 days. So that will occur as soon as, and if we're ratified. Additional improvements, we have changes allowing for more flexibility and scheduling meetings over long-term contracting out. This has mainly been occurring in the custodial services area, but it's also starting to crop up into the IT areas. So we'll be able to quickly meet and confer and try to stop some of these things. There'll be an ability for us to ask for office space. We can file grievances by email. And now this bottom one, position vacancies must have primary duties listed as well as indicating any special skills that they're looking for this position. So that you as employees, if you're applying for these positions and you have those special skills, they can't say, oh, we're hiring an outside person because they had this or they had that. If they didn't list it in the posting, then it's not relative and they cannot use it.
We also have additional improvements where we have a special standing arbitrator called an umpire to quickly hear rejection on probation appeals. Right now, I think they went ahead and did away with
Some mediation
the
process.
mediation. They were going away with that.
Right, did away with state mediators.
So then we went to this process. Temporary employees may be granted permanent status by the president after 1 year rather than 2 years. So the president can dictate that anytime, really. But now we don't want to stand in the way of them doing that. And then we took away the cap on the salary stipends. It used to be a 10%, we took that off.
Right, so that a lot of times we would have is they would say, we want you to have a stipend. We really wanted to pay you 20%, but your contract says 10 is the limit. So now they can't use that as an excuse. They can't hold the contract as a sword over us and say, oh, you can only have 10%.
Yeah, so the classification reviews are submitted to the campus HR office. At the same time, the request is made, reducing the total amount of time for the response.
So when you, so what, the HR would get a copy of the review and your supervisor would get a copy at the same time? Okay.
What was the question?
Oh, I just was wondering if HR gets a copy and the supervisor gets a copy at the same time. And they do.
Okay.
We also are working on this next March. We'll be meeting with the CSU as a statewide team to try to develop a system-wide performance evaluation form. And they're all over the map on what they use, the way they categorize things. At San Diego, they even score on grooming. It's an official category on their evaluation. So we'll be meeting and trying to get a single form. And we've also, you'll notice if you read the contract cover to cover, as I'm sure you all will, that we've restructured the contents of some articles to try to make them easier to read.
So we're here at the ratification process, where only CSU members may be eligible to vote. Fair share fee payers may not vote. Join, sign up a card, you're able to vote, no problem. For instance,
cards.
yep, there's the lady right there.
I'll take it. I have some.
So like Ray had said, it's only 2 cents per thousand. That's all. 72. If you're making 3,000, it's only costing you 72 cents more per year. Join the union and be a member. There's a lot of benefits, guys. It's like, you know, they're able to take you, if you're a union member, they're able to cover any, not to say that there'll be disciplinary matters, but if they happen to be, they'll take you the full ride all the way to the top. Whereas if you're a fee payer, they're only obligated to a certain point. So it's like car insurance. You know, if you get in trouble and then you try to guys to get it, you're not able to get the insurance that you need, so you need to have it before you guys get this. So it's an added benefit.
We don't presume to tell you how to vote, but we are making a recommendation. Both the bargaining team and the CSUE Board of Directors recommends a yes vote on this contract.
The Board of Directors is like the bargaining team, the CSUE Board, and your chapter presidents. They all recommend, unanimously recommend a yes vote.
This is about the ratification timeline. Ballots will be mailed out to members on or after September 19th. We need to be receiving them in headquarters by October 24th, excuse me. If they're received after that, they will not be counted. The post office has made a recommendation to mail by October 18th. Ballots will be counted on October 25th at CSUU headquarters in Sacramento. I'm not going to read this whole slide to you. If you didn't get a ballot or for some reason you need to, there are provisions made for you to obtain a provisional ballot, and you can contact your chapter president in regards to the procedure to receiving a ballot. You can also call headquarters with questions. We also have put the full text of the tentative agreement at csueu.org. You can read it all there. So before we go to the questions and answers, I do want to make this plea to all of you who are members, and if you're going to join today, that you don't have to do what Mike and I are doing, or you don't have to do what your e-board does, but we would like to encourage you to participate fully in your chapter. It can be important, even just carrying a picket, wearing a shirt, signing a petition, going out in public. Every little bit helps because it shows not only your commitment to the union itself, but it shows our strength to the CSU. And there is strength and power in our numbers, but we have to do it together. So, thank you. Questions?
On the 3% raise, once the contract is ratified, we will get that. How are the, well, like when we got to 1.34, it took months for that to see that in our paychecks. Is it do you have any indication on how it's going to be handled this time around?
Well, this time around should be easier because we didn't do anything special. We kind of went outside the boundaries last time with that $40 minimum. So this is just a straight GSI like we've received in the past. The controller's office is ready and waiting at the trigger this time. So what they're waiting for is we have to ratify. Once we finish the ratification process, the Board of Trustees has to ratify. They are also working on their side to institute a special ratification process to try to speed it up. Once that's done, they'll call up the state controller and say, okay, you're good to go. We are hoping that we can get this money into your pockets before the holidays. Yeah. So, but there's no promise. I don't want to hear, well, it's not E.F. Hutton. I'm not E.F. Hutton, not Susan. That's our hope and that's our goal. Ratify, that they'll ratify quickly and that the state controller will get it done.
I just wanted to reiterate, hello everybody, how important it is to be a member, but also if you're not sure if you're a member, a couple different ways that you can tell, obviously calling headquarters or talking to your leaders here on the campus, but also one easy way to check your paycheck. On your paycheck, it should say CSUU, CCA.
It'll have F for fee pays and D
F,
for Ds.
right, the letter F or the letter D. And if it's an F, you're a fair share fee payer and you are not a full member. If the letter D is there, then you are a full member and you're paying full dues. So if you've moved, then your information is not updated. Your ballot is going, and if you're a member, your ballot is going to, actually even if you're a fair share fee payer, your ballot will be sent to the last address that we at headquarters have on record. So if it's been a while since you've been an employee or since you signed up, you have to make sure that's updated because that ballot is going to go to your old address. So please make sure that you, online on the CSUEU website, there's a place where you can update your information. And we have, who needs a membership card today, right now, that they know of that I can pass out to you so that you can fill it out?
Nobody's going to rat themselves.
I don't know, but you should be proud. I mean, you should be proud. You're making the move today. So, anyway, but if anybody needs one,
I'm just kidding about ratting yourself out.
And I was gonna say, we did get a new shipment of shirts, so anyone who emailed me a request, I will have them on reserve for you. And anyone who also indicated what shirt size, I will have them on hold for you and I will contact you to come and pick them up. I'm in the BDC Development Center, Building A, upstairs in room 217. Okay?
And not to beat a dead horse about this membership thing, but a lot of times I'll hear, especially in Unit 9, well, I have philosophical differences with being a union member. And they'll go on, and I always reply, well, do you have philosophical differences with taking the holidays off? Or how about do you have philosophical differences with vacation, sick days, overtime, double time, shift, the 5-day work week? I can just go. And as I'm walking away, I'm usually and. So there are a lot of benefits to union membership. With us, I even go so far as to say you get an insurance policy for 6 cents. Basically 6 cents a month buys you an insurance policy. So lots of good stuff with being a union member.
Any other questions?
Sorry, I missed it. When are the ballots coming out?
I think within a couple.
September 19th is the anticipated mailing date. Tomorrow. I'm flying.
If you haven't seen one within a couple of weeks, contact HR or not HR, but headquarters. Headquarters. Any other questions?
Wait, there's a question over here, and they're asking about the deadline. Ballots must be received at headquarters by October 24th. So if you mail it by the 18th, the post office is saying it should be good to go.
What we're asking people to do, as soon as you get it in the mail, sign it, fill it out, and put it in. That way there's no forgetting, no losing it.
And if there's any questions that you have on whether you should or shouldn't, and you want more clarification, I know my number's out there on the webpage. Every
all the bargaining team members.
Any bargaining team member would welcome a question or a telephone call on ratification.
Yeah, somebody have questions?
Well, it's kind of a personal thing about the temporary, you can become permanent, but do you ask the president, do you approach him and say, can I become a permanent employee? Or?
Yeah, you can ask him. No harm in asking.
Did everybody hear that?
It'd be good if you managed it.
Temporary employees, it used to be that the president could grant permanency after 2 years, and it's now changed to 1 year. Hey, Mr. or Ms. President, if you want to give them permanency, you can. But she was asking, can you ask? And my answer to that is, why not? Ask. Just like the IRP, don't wait, ask. Ask. They can't take your birthday away or demote you. Ask, because if you don't ask, how many managers do you know of that say, hey, I think I'm going to give you an IRP? Push it. We have to get out of the business of accepting what has been given to us. They have backed us into a corner for 7 years thinking we should be grateful for a job and what they've given us. Now's the time to start pushing and asking for what you deserve.
On your question, Renee, especially a really sensitive question like that, we recommend that you run a draft of what you intend to send by Catherine and me before you send it.
Absolutely.
And likewise with anything. If you've got a problem with management, please let us know. I know some of us want to be cowboys and get out there and just round them up and make them do what we want them to do.
That goes to the IRP request also.
Do you want the IRPs to come through you as well?
We request that, yeah.
Well, work with Ray and Catherine in your chapter. I didn't mean to countermand any
No, you
chapter
didn't.
things, but you should still, some chapters even institute IRP writing meetings and things to assist you with how to tailor your request.
Yeah. Even if we have nothing to say, even if what you submit to us is perfect, it frequently helps just to have another pair of eyes on it. So.
I have a question. On the ratification regarding the reclass, does that also apply to the IRPs when filing grievance?
The IRP grievance is a little touchier because technically you can't file a grievance on an IRP denial. So I would recommend that you go to your chapter leadership, figure out how it is you're going to craft a grievance on the IRP denial. And then once you have figured out how you're going to do that, a representative is always allowed to attend with you. But the timelines, there's no change to the timelines on IRPs.
Remember, all these provisions, they won't take effect until after we ratify them.
Right.
Will your Kaiser, if you're a Kaiser member, will your fees automatically go down, or do you have to re-enroll?
I don't, well, if you're a Kaiser member and you just stay, they'll automatically adjust the amount that is your share. So if you're Kaiser, you're gonna see more money in your January 1st paycheck.
I just wanted to let everybody know that we're collecting information on IRP denials, and if you have applied for an IRP in the last 3 years, and if it has been denied, please forward your information to us.
As far as what information?
The IRP request and the written denial.
And why this is important is because when we go to bargaining and we talk to them about salary and salary structure, and they'll say, oh, well, you have the IRP, you have the IRP. And when we're at one campus, no, we grant IRPs, and I can't remember who said, well, really, how many? And they said, oh, well, I don't know. And we said, 4. We granted 4 IRPs. So that's why we like to track this type of information. It's useful at the bargaining table.
Typically, what we're finding is Unit 5 has been typically denied the IRP. So the more information, we gotta apply them. You guys we gotta apply as a unit, put it in. This way we'll get the denials, and then we'll be able to show a trend that they're systematically denying them. But we won't have that until we get that information.
Can you come talk to us after the meeting?
So in regard to the IRP denials, we have so many people on campus that we encourage to do them. Management has been very poor in understanding how the contract works, and a lot have been denied when in fact they have factual information that they've provided that they are due for an IRP. A lot of employees get discouraged at that point. So is it possible at some time to also include them in the contract ratification at some point?
In future contract bargaining sessions, definitely.
Because that's
Yeah.
that is a
I mean,
major
we're,
mess on the
believe it or not, we'll be probably gearing up within a couple of years, before even this contract session, before it's over.
Yeah.
They'll be crafting.
Yeah, because we encourage so many people to apply, and then management, they'll deny it, and they have no legal or,
Well,
The fight is never over.
right. You keep
Fight is
fighting.
never over, guys.
Typically what happens on those, that even at the bottom, there's probably a general denial that says that it's been denied because there is no funds. And that's not something that we can fight. If there's no funds, you can't force.
Right.
So you're saying that you have a lot of IRPs where they're never mentioning that there's no funding issue, they just say denied.
right, but based
With
on,
no reason?
based on analysis. But the analysis were not provided, so then we have to request, okay, well, how did you analyze that?
Okay. Well, the only thing is, what I said before, even if you're denied, you just keep going, and you can, we'll look to that and write it down for bargaining team for future.
Are there any other questions for ratification? Because if they're all
That's mainly,
individualized.
we want to do ratifications.
Yeah, ratification.
There's one here.
Oh, no, it was
No,
okay.
okay.
Yeah, because we'll be around to ask individual questions if you guys have any individual answers, but anything related to
About the
ratification.
contract, the tentative
Yeah.
agreement.
Well, when will faculty ratifying theirs?
We would have no information on
They
that.
haven't even come to a tentative agreement yet.
So it could be a paperwork mess if they get a higher one, then you gotta give us even more.
No,
No,
it's not a paperwork mess, because let's just say, by chance they got a 4%, and everybody across the board was giving a 4%, then the state controller would go in and make an adjustment and say, okay, increase theirs to 4%, and then they would just get a retroactive payment. It's not really any different. Well, what paperwork, I'm sorry, maybe I didn't
Well, that's
understand
what I
your
said, and I'm
question.
on the controller, I'm holding back on giving ours, early until I find out what the fact is.
They don't have that ability. We contract with the state of California Controller's Office for our payroll. So once we give them a direction or make a request, they provide us a timeline. They have already given us given the CSU a timeline of we're ready when you're ready. So they can't just go, okay, now we're going to wait until you finish with another unit. It's a totally separate consideration. We're totally separate units. They do this stuff all the time at different times. Other ratification questions?
Go ahead.
Not really a question, I just want to say thank you both so very, very much.
Well, we'll be around. I know I have a Unit 9 meeting, so if you're in Unit 9, I can't remember the room, I'm sorry, but from 2:30 to 3:30, come on by.
LB 100, Lecture Building 100, over by the art.
And I won't take Mike's questions, but if you're Unit 2 or you're Unit 7, I'd be happy to answer questions too if you want to stop by.
Okay, thank you all. I've been involved as an officer. I've been involved as an officer in this chapter for going on 10 years now. And this ranks right up with, in my mind, this tentative agreement ranks right up with the current contract that we are under now. The current contract saved benefits, salaries, and jobs when we were hurting bad. This one propels us to the next level and sets the stage for future increases. So that's my estimation of it. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to talk with you also. Frank.
If anybody didn't sign in, please come over here and sign in before you leave. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.